What's going on, everybody? Good morning. I'm getting a buy limit here on GU setup right off the bat at the 7 a.m. candle. Nice little breaker set up here on the 30-minute time frame. We have run sell side liquidity. We have displaced higher, and we are coming back into this 30-minute breaker. I have a buy limit set just below this fair value gap here on this candle. The stop is below the candle that created the highest fair value gap here, so below this low here. I'm about to put in the where'd that go? I'm about to put in the exact 22480. 22241 is the stop, and 22978 is the TP. So order set, breaker set up on a buy here on GU. So we have very quickly, we'll just run through the strategy. We have run an old low, an intermediate low. We have taken out that, and as soon as we have had immediate displacement away. We identify where did this run on liquidity begin. The last up close candle on the these two 30-minute candles together, you could see ran liquidity, displaced through, and now we're coming back to rebalance the inefficiencies on the displacement away. And so we will look for an entry about halfway through this breaker, which is also in line with this fair value gap right here. And we're putting our stop below the candle that created the fair value gap. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. We'll see if we get triggered in. A lot of stuff going on this week, but just starting off the stream with a buy limit. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to throw it into our Discord channel. Forgot to get that up and going here. Get that in, and then we'll get into the rest of our day. So again, buy limit set here on pound dollar. Where did my Discord go? There we go. General chat, GBPUSD buy limit has been set. All right, it's about to get triggered in. We'll see how she rolls. Fits the strat, trade the strat. I can't even talk right. If it checks off all the boxes, if you see your setup, you see everything get done that needs to get done, you execute the trade. We've had a run of liquidity. We've had displacement away. We're getting a retracement to rebalance, and that's what we're waiting on. That is what we're waiting on. So we'll see. We don't really have any big news today. It's just a pretty blah Tuesday, news related as far as economic news. I know there's a lot of news going on in the world, but the economic calendar news is pretty dead today. So really, we're just looking at to see if we can get a continuation in this small little uptrend as we get a pullback. Here on the foreign pairs against the dollar. You can see the dollar also grabbed its liquidity, displaced away, and is coming back now up to rebalance. I would expect and anticipate this fair value gap to act as some resistance here. It is reaching down into last week's fair value gap, which we noted earlier. Right here, a small little fair value gap. We'll see how this plays out. I would anticipate a move further down just a little bit as we've as we reach into and see the dollar give some retracements here after 12 bullish weeks of price action. So this opening gap down, we traded up above it. We've traded through it. We're coming back up into this opening gap here. This is from over the weekend with the war breaking out in the Middle East. So as it comes back up into this gap, this is where I would expect it to find some resistance, and then it should head a little bit lower from here. In a downtrend, you're getting a pullback, so we'll just watch and wait. I've not been triggered in yet. I know it shows it's triggered in here on TradingView, but over here on MT5, we're not yet in. The has not gotten down below the entry price, though it shows it has here on TradingView. This is also 8 cap, and I'm now using Think Markets for my bespoke funding 10K challenge that's going on right now. So we have Think Markets happening over here, and we've got 8 cap feed happening over here. So no entry just yet on from the Think Markets feed. Yeah, no entry there. But good morning, everyone. All right, welcome to the 10K to $2 million funding challenge, live on YouTube every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. New York time. It's Tuesday, October 10th, and I'm glad you're here. We are proud to be sponsored by Bespoke Funding Program. They sponsor the stream and allow us to do what we do for free of charge to you all. So I'm grateful for them to be able to do that. And if you want to be able to support the stream and help keep everything free, then you can use that discount code Venator when you check out on Bespoke Funding Program's website. When you buy any challenge, use the discount code Venator, you get 15% off and an 85% lifetime profit split on those challenges. So hope you guys will take advantage of that. Hope you're doing well. Hope yesterday was a good day. I did not trade yesterday after I got off the charts. I didn't even look at a chart yesterday. There was just no reason to after all of the weekend. This is the first true, this is probably the first true day of the week. Yesterday was a bank holiday. It was Columbus Day. The schools were closed. The banks were closed. You had the outbreak of the war in the Middle East. There's all kinds of things going on yesterday. I was just like, I'm not touching it. I'm going to stay away from it. And just had no desire to try to get involved in that. So today we'll see. We've got an order. We've got a buy limit set. We're just about to get touched into this breaker setup, and there we are. We're now live in this trade. We just got triggered in on Think Markets right there. So we are now in this trade. So we'll see how this plays out. It fits the strategy. Whatever happens from here, I don't care. If we were to, the only other decision we have at this point is where do we move to break even? I'm going to use around 1.5 R to move to break even, which would be ish up here. So as we break these highs, somewhere between as we break these highs, if we break these highs, that's about where I would want to move to break even, is somewhere right up in here. 1-to-1 is nearing the highs. So yeah, I would probably move into break even somewhere around as we clear these highs here is where I would move to break even. So it's either stop loss, break even. That's the only two outcomes from this point forward, is a stop loss or a break even. If it just ranges here in this tight little range for the next 8 hours or so, then we'll close it out, but probably not going to happen. Glad you guys are here. Discord's been a little quieter over the last few days. But I see some people in there posting trade ideas still, and Saeem is slowly but surely pulling out of his drawdown. We'll see if we'll be able to pull out of our drawdown here a little bit. But let me get over into the chat. John, good morning. First in, of course. Corey, welcome. Good morning, Mr. Alfie. Adrian, Saeem caught the GU buy in the morning. Got 2R is great, man. There's nothing to be ashamed of with getting 2R. And good evening to you. Welcome in. Alpha Bridge. Hello, guys. What's going on here? Not much, man. Just getting started. Matthew Hope, good morning. Cisco, what's up? My challenge officially just died. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, Cisco. But it's okay. No big deal. I've blown lots of challenges. You're probably going to blow a challenge again. It's just part of what it is, man. It just happens. Challenges get blown. No big deal. So, you're gonna figure out a way to get into another challenge, and you're going to just keep executing your system. You're going to keep executing your trades, and that's all you're going to do. That's all you can do as a trader. You can't control what happens with each trade. You can't control what happens with each challenge. You can only control your mindset. That's it. That's the only thing that you have control over, is the decisions that you're making and the execution of your trades. Everything else, it's up to the market, and we have no control over the market. We are just along for the ride. Once we're into the market, wherever it wants to go, it goes, and we're along for the ride. And if it hits our stop loss, it hits our stop loss. If we execute our trade and we have an edge in the market, and the strategy that we work, we know has some sort of advantage over or edge over a long sample of trades, then that's why we take the trades we take. Not because we think any one trade is going to work, but we know that over the next 100, 200, 300 trades, that this system works. And as you manage your risk throughout that time period, you're going to see your accounts grow. So that is why we work the way we work and do what we do. Matthew, I've seen people say Pepperstone charts align with the Think Markets feed the best, but I've also noticed FXCM is close as well. That's good to know, Matthew. I may need to check that out and see here on TradingView which is closest, and do my own little analysis there. So Owen says hard luck, Cisco. Yeah. Owen also says FXCM I use. Okay, cool. Well, we may need to, I've got all my annotations here right now on this chart. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on ACAT for now, but maybe tomorrow we'll jump into re-annotating everything on a different feed to see how that plays out. John, Cisco, sorry to hear that. Yeah, Cisco, man, we're here for you, buddy. Don't get too down about it. It doesn't sound like you're too down about it, but it happens. And I'm assuming that was the 10K count that you won, the challenge. And if so, I believe you passed phase 1. And you got all the way into phase 2, and you held that account for quite a while. So it's not the end of the world. Oh man, I need to get some coffee in my body. All right. Yeah, I mean, the feels come. You can't stop. You can't stop yourself from feeling things. That's impossible. I forgot to post in the Discord here. You can't stop yourself from feeling emotions. That's completely out of your control. There's no way that you can control what you feel. I mean, you're going to have the feels. I get frustrated. I still feel all the things that every other trader feels. So whether it's sadness, frustration, anger, depression, pain, whatever those pains are that come up, you're not going to stop feeling them. It's just you learn to feel them, understand where it's coming from, and you then have an ability to still operate and live into and make wise decisions despite whatever feelings are going on inside of you. That's what good trading is really all about. It's not about anything else except like when it comes to mindset, it truly is about being able to recognize the feelings that are roiling up inside of you and still being able to make wise decisions despite the feelings that are trying to get you to act in a way to remove that pain. It's crazy how the subconscious works, our subconscious brains work. It's crazy how the chemistry in our brain can release certain hormones and chemicals to make us feel these things. And we are smart people, and so we've got to overcome that and understand that just because we're feeling certain things, that's not a reason to just change or act in certain ways. Our feelings are not facts. Now, sometimes they can be very protective and they can warn us of situations and things that we do need to avoid. I'm not saying that all feelings are bad. I'm saying that you need to understand the context wherein you find yourself to be able to put the value of what you're feeling into perspective. And when you're trading, there's no true danger. It's not like we're in a very, dangerous situation and our body is, dialing in adrenaline and all kinds of chemicals into our body to try to get us to flee, fight, or flight, right? And when we're trading, that doesn't exist. We're not truly in danger. But our brain, because our brain doesn't know that, but our brain looks at what's going on and it assumes we're in danger or it assumes we're in pain. And we don't know how to deal with that, because every other place in life, when we feel those things, we typically try to act in a way to alleviate that fear or that flight. So that's just the way our brains work. And it's also why traders have such a difficult time managing their emotions and their mindset while they're inside the market looking at charts. Even if they're not in trades, traders feel pain all the time. The pain of not being in a trade is a true pain and a true emotion that most traders fight with and deal with all the time. We've talked about that here many times on this stream, is that as soon as you open the charts, you're going to feel pain. You're going to have seen trade ideas posted. You're going to see charts posted. You're going to see screenshots of other traders who have made money today in the market, and you have not. And you begin to be like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not making profits? Why am I not in the market right now? Well, if they got in and it's going in this direction, I'm getting in right now. It's going to continue to go in that direction. And then you get in to alleviate that pain of not being in the market or being able to make money because you're not in a trade. And immediately you're faced with a new pain of drawdown, not trading with a stop loss, lot size, over leveraging, or it goes into profit and you're like, should I close it out? It's at break even. It's got a tiny profit. Do I just get out here? All of these other things. You're just going to constantly be coming face to face with pain and negative emotions constantly, daily, minute by minute while you're in trades. So get comfortable with being in an uncomfortable situation. You've got to get comfortable with that, or it's not going to go so well. Indeed, friends, buying now. Yes, I've got buy limits set here. They've already been triggered in. They're back at entry right now. We're looking to buy GU and capture a 1 to 2 here this morning if we can. We're looking for, we've got about a 24 pip stop, and we're looking for about a 50 pip run here. But this is 1 to 2. This is a breaker strategy. This is the strategy that I've done a video on. This is exactly what I look for. It doesn't matter when it happens. It's in time. It's inside of my trading session time, 7 a.m. New York. I begin to look for breaker strategies, and we've had a run of the Asian lows, the Asian session. We've come back into this imbalance here, and we ran a low while we did it. And as soon as we did, we had immediate displacement away from this pool of liquidity. And our target was inside this breaker block and inside this fair value gap. Price could, in theory, come all the way down inside that fair value gap here to rebalance that entire this entire fair value gap here. It could, the stop loss is below that fair value gap. So that's the trade idea. We go for 1 to 2. That's all we look for. We're not trying to get anything else but a 1 to 2. This 15-minute candle at the start of the hour opened with no wick. And so I'm still anticipating at least that price comes back up in, at least puts a little wick in here, but we'll wait and see. I'm just going to watch this on the 30-minute time frame. There's no reason to drop down to lower time frames and watch these things play out. Price is just going to do what it's going to do on any time frame, and the smaller time frame you go, it's just going to introduce more opportunity for your brain to try to wiggle its way out of this trade somehow. Whether it's on the 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, it doesn't matter. You're going to watch these candles prints on the lower time frame, and it's just going to cause you panic and anxiety. And so I just watch it on the higher time frames, and it's going to work out in my favor. It's not, and I don't really care either way, because I executed my trade exactly the way the rule book says for this strategy to be executed. So I'm basically completely detached from it at this point. What's up, Red? Welcome in. LOL, welcome in, man. Long time no see. Glad you're back, and I hope you're well. Good evening, Shadow Trades. It's kind of getting better. How are you, my friend? I'm glad to hear things are hopefully improving for your situation, LOL, and I'm glad you're back. Always welcome here in the stream, and we've been thinking about you. The guys have been asking almost daily how you've been. We've messaged privately. I know you've probably talked to a couple of the other traders either on Discord or Twitter as well. So the Venator family checking in on each other is always great to see. Let's see. We would be, I'm just going to move this forward here. John says, hey, glad you're here. Yeah, man, we are very glad you're here. As we just kind of roll through the charts, we can just kind of look and see what's going on. Euro dollar closing through, trading through the gap, now coming back down to the opening week gap here. You've got a higher time frame draw of liquidity here on the 4 hour, these highs up here. It has tapped into its fair value gap from last week as well. This is why you're getting that pullback right now. It's just reached up into a little bit of that liquidity, and so you're getting some pullback, but it will, I believe, is going to make a little bit of a deeper run there here for the dollar. Dollar reaching up into about 50% of that opening gap now here as well. GJ, again, you have all these opening gaps. They always do like to get refilled. Pound Aussie, I would expect some pound strength here on both of these pairs. You have a lot of liquidity on the buy side here. You've grabbed sell side, displaced through, failing to make new lows down here. So pound Aussie looks like it may be wanting to come up a little bit higher. It's reached into last week, this fair value gap and volume imbalance. There's another larger fair value gap up here on the weekly time frame for GA. And you can see we've taken out sell side and we're starting to move higher on GA. So I'd be looking for more opportunities to buy GA currently. Dollar yen, it just depends. It's made highs and we're just kind of trading sideways here on the 1 hour time frame, reaching back up into this sell side imbalance, into this order block. We'll see what happens as it goes up into there. US 30, we've cleared out sell side liquidity. We're coming back up now into some of these breakers that have already been retested once. We'll see how they respond as we come back up into these areas, if the markets want to continue lower or not. And then oil, of course, has currently held its gap and trading inside the high and low from yesterday still. Not sure when oil is going to want to fill this in, but it likely will at some point. I just don't know how far out we're going to have to go before that happens. With all of the turmoil in the Middle East, oil prices are going to be probably a little more volatile than typical. So we'll just have to watch and wait to see how that plays out a little bit. We've had a market shift here as we've grabbed higher time frame draws of liquidity. Once we've displaced lower, and we have taken out 2 swing lows at this point. So it had shifted to more bearish nature. And you're coming back up, even with the news, you're coming back up into this area. So I would be watching on oil how it responds as we reach up into this order block right here, the wick to body of this bullish candle here. I would be interested to see how price responds once we get up into that. It's currently inside this daily breaker here. You've had the last down close candle. We had buy side, we displaced through. It's inside the fair value gap here of this daily breaker. So you could see price push lower here and try to rebalance this. But I think somewhere up in here, whether it's this breaker or this order block, you may see price the oil to come back down. I don't know if we refill this entire thing, but even if it gets down into it a little bit before it wants to go higher. The longer the Middle Eastern conflict goes on, the more likely it is to have higher prices in oil. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to oil. What happens in the Middle East is what really controls the overall outcome of oil prices. And so the more intense it gets, or the more it unfolds and becomes, whether it escalates or it draws in other countries around it, whatever it is, you can anticipate higher oil prices the longer this goes on. Coming into that the first 30-minute candle close here, it is closing inside of this fair value gap. So we'll see how that all plays out. Currently respecting the breaker itself. Again, it can come all the way back down into this hourly fair value gap. It can close the whole thing out if it needs to. The stop loss is in a proper place for this strategy. So we'll wait and see how this all plays out. Yes, Ben, I'm in this GA trade, or GU trade. I'm just catching up on the chat remarks. Been in a lot of drama in my country, but things are getting better. Hoping I'll get back to normal. It's okay, man. You can spam the chat. We haven't heard from you in a while. Yeah, man, we hit our drawdown. We've started a new 10K. We hung on as long as we could. We were in drawdown since, or we held that drawdown for 3 months. So for 3 months we managed those accounts, and very happy about that outcome. I mean, I'm not happy about how it turned out, but I am happy about how I traded that and executed all the way through there. The patience, the discipline, that's all exactly what needs to happen when you're in drawdown. And so yeah, I mean, it again didn't end up being the result that we wanted throughout that process, but we did execute the way we intended all the way through to the end. Too bad USA doesn't have any oil for itself. Yeah, we got a bunch. What's up, Beeswax? Good to see you. Welcome in, Warren Buffett. What's up going on? What's going on, man? Beeswax says, my wife told me this morning she hated herself because she looks fat and asked me to pay her a compliment. I said, honey, you have perfect vision. Lol, we've been starting our dad jokes. That's kind of a new vibe here on the stream, is bad dad jokes. So everybody, every day, we will just get random dad jokes posted. Beeswax, often it's Mr. Alfie, but Beeswax was first to it today. So Warren Buffett, I have 14 billion, but I'm confused where to invest. Well, Warren, you've come to the right place. I will steer you in the right direction, but I want a commission on any profits generated from your time here on the stream. How about that? Or how about you just give everyone here on the stream a couple milli? It won't hurt your bank account at all. But what's going on here? Not much. Just sitting here chilling in this trade. We've been triggered in, sitting in a small little drawdown, waiting for price to start pulling back off of. It's reached into a discount off of this swing level. And it's about to reach into and down below an OTE area here. So this is where we're anticipating price to start reversing. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if it comes and fills in this fair value gap completely there. I spoke to someone close to ICT. They said he's now counter trading us all and using us as his liquidity. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. Many people could have made a lot of money fading me the last 3 months. Signing to teach kids about democracy. I let them vote on dinner. They picked tacos. Then I made pizza because they don't live in a swing state. It's Warren Buffett. Ben A. People can do anything. Yeah. Bakong, welcome in. Good afternoon. How's the How's life going over there? Am not interested in big traders' critics. Am keen to achieve mine. Yep. It doesn't matter what anybody else sees on the chart. It doesn't matter what anybody else says is happening on the chart. It doesn't matter what anybody else analysis is. The only thing that matters when you sit down to trade is what you see and what your system is. And if you have a trading system that tells you to enter here, exit here, stop loss here, that's what you execute over and over and over and over and over and over and over. You just keep executing it. Don't just change up and switch up your strategy because you feel like it, or because you've encountered a losing streak, or because you lose a challenge, or because whatever. Losing a challenge is not the end of the world. Andy C., any reason you chose GU instead of EU? GU had just had a very clear run of liquidity. EU did not. If EU would have run these lows, then I would have anticipated a EU trade. But it did not. I mean, they're both technically could be. I mean, you could have said, yes, it did run this little bit of liquidity. It did run this little bit of liquidity. Correspondingly, it didn't take out what GU took out. GU took out very clear sell side liquidity before it displaced higher. That's the main reason. GU is cool. GU gonna run London's low before going higher thing. Yeah, it could. If it does, it does. Absolutely. Very often you'll get an OTE, optimal trade entry, from the London move. You had the fake out, you had the displacement away, and now you're getting a retracement as New York enters. It pulls back and rebalances the inefficient price delivery that London session provided and gives the New York buyers a chance to enter at a discount. But if it wants to run low, it does, and it'll take our stop in the process. And it happens. I've seen it before. We'll see it again. Today may be that day. But it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, other than putting our account further into drawdown, that will be one of the consequences if the trade is a loss. But I'm a professional drawdown trader at the moment. I trade. I can hold drawdown for a long time. Later this week, we've got some news. Tomorrow, likely not going to trade. We have ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15 in the morning. At 10 a.m., you have ISM services. And that's in the morning. That's basically going to take up your whole morning. So you're not going to trade until after 8:15, and then you only have about an hour, and then you have more news hits at 10 a.m., and then your session is over 30 minutes after that. So tomorrow doesn't look like a great day to trade, at least for this specific strategy on the stream. Probably not going to be looking to take a trade tomorrow. Thursday, you have unemployment claims. I'm sorry, I'm not even looking at the right freaking week. I was like, this isn't right. Hold on. Let me get to the right week. Here we go. Tomorrow, core PPI. That's right. I was last week's news. Tomorrow at 8:30, we have core PPI. Month over month. That's going to cause volatility at 8:30. And then at 2 o'clock, you have the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow. So morning news and afternoon news, the FOMC minutes are the ones that probably we are going to see the biggest volatility on. They're going to be looking for clues on future interest rate decisions coming out of those meeting minutes. So tomorrow morning, you're going to get some volatility with the PPI news, and then you're going to get whatever happens at 2 o'clock. So tomorrow's just, again, not a great day to trade. Thursday, 8:30, you have more CPI information coming out in the morning. You might be able to find, and unemployment claims, you might be able to find a trade of some kind there. After 8:30, we'll have to wait and see. And then Friday, pretty light news for the dollar. You've got some pound news at 4 a.m. The Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks. And then you've got the preliminary University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report comes out at 10 a.m. So Wednesday and Thursday, probably not good trading days. Friday, maybe. So it's today, and then we let the news play out. Plus, you still have the conflict in the Middle East going on. And so with that, you're always you could have just some random thing happen anytime this week, news related, that could really play into and create volatility. And you never know when it's going to happen. You just have to be cautious and nimble. And thank God we're trading with simulated accounts. Here's one benefit. We're trading with simulated accounts right now. So any kind of black swan event that happens, the worst case is you lose a simulated challenge or account because something crazy happens in the world and your stop loss gets obliterated. One beauty of trading with prop firms currently is your funds, your personal trading funds, are not in danger. They're the ones assuming all the risk at this point. Man, I've got one of those. I know this may be TMI, too much information, but there's a little, I don't know if you guys ever get these, but there's a little pimple or sore or something right on the inside of my nostril. And it is so, I mean, typically you'll get like pimples or whatever, blemishes all around on the outside. Sometimes you get them right on the inside and it is so tender. So if you see me messing with my nose, that's why. But maybe TMI. We're fam. We can share these kinds of things. But I've got something going on right inside there and it hurts like a mother in there. And for whatever reason, why do we always want to touch our painful spots? Like we know they hurt, but we keep wanting to go back and keep touching them. I don't know why we do that. See you, Warren Buffett. Bill Gates' house. We'll catch you later. Mr. Alfie, my wife watches Dr. Pimple Popper on TV. I have to leave the room. It's pretty disgusting. I've seen bits and pieces of that show. I've seen like clips on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. It is disgusting what she pushes out of people's bodies. It's unbelievable. Like I don't understand why people let things get to such a horrible place that she has to go in there and do that. But it happens, and it happens enough that they can make a freaking TV show about it. And I don't think so, Ben. It respected the 10-2 daily inverted fair value gap, so I think the draw would be 22,938 bearish daily fair value gap. I would agree with you. I think we're heading up into, this is the fair value gap, I think, that Mr. Alfie, this is the one that I see as being the draw on liquidity. I'm not sure if that's the same one you just mentioned, but that's where I believe we're heading. That's where our TP is currently set. We shall see. We shall see. We're going to find out in the next few hours how low it wants to rebalance this London move. And if it does indeed want to reach up into that fair value gap. Had I placed my stop at the London low, it would have increased my TP significantly to the top end of that fair value gap. And that's not a move that I want to hold on to. When I have placed my stop below the last run of liquidity there, below the fair value gap, below the breaker block. So again, I don't, it just is what it is. Once you see your setup, you enter, there's nothing else to do. Typically when I'm in a trade, I don't even really watch it. I'll check it like every 15 or 30 minutes just to see what's going on. It's just sitting here watching it play out. It's not typically enjoyable. It's not something that you're just giving yourself an opportunity to feel all of the pain and sit there inside while all the pain's happening. And I would prefer just to set alerts and walk away and go do something else and just get my mind off of it completely. Brad, let's say I have $2 million in funding. How should I trade them? Should I connect all of them with Trade Copier and trade same risk or all of them? I probably would not do that. I think connecting them all to a Trade Copier is fine. If you want all of them to be taking the same, if you just have one strategy you're trading, cool, connect them all to a Trade Copier. But I would not have them all set to the same risk. I would divide that $2 million out into chunks of risk. So you might have it divided up into 4 different, or you could do it as many as you want, but I'm just, as an example, you might have one quarter of that $2 million. So $500,000, you're going to risk, let's say 1%. The next $500,000, you're going to risk, let's say 0.75%. The next $500,000, you're going to risk 0.5%. And the last, you're going to risk 0.25%. So you've got kind of an aggressive at the full 1%. You've got an aggressive risk profile, and then you get you get more conservative on that risk profile the further you go. I would not keep it all at the same risk profile. That way, if you hit into a losing streak and you end up losing some of that funding, you are still going to have a very large 6-figure account that is still able to be worked with and pulled out of drawdown, and won't be that far into drawdown either. There are some that would probably just say, no, do it all at once. Make one master account. If you let's say it was all with one prop firm, just trade one master account. I don't think that's a wise thing to do. I would definitely keep them separated, and I would definitely have a risk profile set across different chunks of those accounts. That's correct, Cisco. It is an averaged out risk percentage over if they are all taking the exact same trades. It is an averaged down risk percentage, but they're all still individual accounts. So if you're just wanting to trade, if you're focused on a large sample size, you recognize that sometimes the aggressive account is going to do better than the conservative account. But the conservative accounts are the ones that are going to have probably the best chance of long-term survival. So what you're banking on or hoping for or looking to is those aggressive accounts hit the winning streaks. They pay off big. And those smaller risk accounts on the same trade setups are what keep you in those funded accounts for a very long time when you do hit losing streaks. Oh. Gosh. I feel like it's better risking one account per trade session than risking all your accounts at once. Also, another way to do it is just trade one account at a time. And when you hit 0.5% or 1% profit or whatever it is, you have a profit target for each account. When you hit that profit target, you stop trading on that account. You let those profits sit there and you move on to the next account and you trade that one until you get to a certain percentage profit target. And then you set that one aside. And so you could also do it that way. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, but that's just, there are just many different avenues wherein you can manage your risk or manage your accounts when it comes to prop firm funding. Are you not wary of liquidity below lows that are formed on rollover hour at 5 p.m.? I mean, this liquidity has already been taken through London. So all of that liquidity got swept during the London session and we displaced higher, which is why the stop is currently below the last liquidity that was taken as well. It's below the breaker. It's below the fair value gap. Again, it's below all the things that I would have for this strategy. To ask whether I'm worried about anything is kind of irrelevant. I'm not really worried about anything because once I'm in a trade, if I executed it according to my plan, this is just another data point for the 100 trade sample size. That's all it is. So I don't sit here and say that I worry about there's liquidity everywhere in the market. You could go down to the 1 minute time frame and find liquidity. You can go up to the 4 hour time frame and find liquidity. You can find liquidity on literally every single time frame. You can find liquidity to quote unquote worry about. There's no safe stop unless you put it, way down here below the last month low. Okay, well, there's liquidity down here too. It's just going to take longer to get there. So there's liquidity everywhere. There's a trend line right here. That's liquidity. Like, you have to take calculated risks, and your trading strategy is what provides that for you. I don't sit here once I'm in a trade and worry about anything. Don't worry. You execute your trading plan. I have a very specific set of rules and criteria that I use to enter on a breaker block fair value gap strategy. Very specific. So I just don't, worry is not part of the strategy. I place my stop loss where my rules tell me to place it. And then I go on from there. And then whatever happens, happens. And if I get into a losing streak, if this strategy gets into a place where it's just not consistently producing at the same statistical margin that it typically does, I'm not going to change anything because it hits a rough patch. If we end up losing this 10K count, again, not to sound like it's not a big deal as far as money purchasing another account goes, but it's a small 10K account and I will purchase another one. And my return on investment over the long term between the purchases of all the 10K accounts will eventually, I'm already ahead of the game from the last 10K account. I had an 800 ROI on the last account. So I'm still technically playing with house money by purchasing this 10K account. I could lose 8 more 10K accounts and still be at break even on my initial $100 purchase. No, I don't take into consideration that kind of data, Ben. That's just it's not part of my strategy. It just is what it is. Reach down into the OTE. We just tapped into the OTE level. This is the area wherein ICT would even be entering, is on a deep retracement. The 062 of a displacement leg is the optimal. That's the first level of entry for optimal trade entries, is on these deep pullbacks. The next level would be the 0705, and then the final would be 079. I mean 0.79 as far as pullbacks go. Those numbers are optimal trade entry numbers. That's an ICT concept. I know, John, that you're not a big fan of ICT stuff, but it's just a Fibonacci retracement that he identifies as the optimal. It's called the OTE, optimal trade entry pattern. So when you have a displacement leg, go back and look at your displacements, and you can just pull a fib from the high to the low, and you can look and see how many times on the pullbacks from the highs to the lows it comes back into or around the OTE level before it starts a new leg up. And it's very accurate typically. I mean, it doesn't happen on every swing, but you can see it gets either close to or right at the optimal trade entry. So if you're in a trending market, any pullbacks, you'd be looking for the optimal level to get in is inside, in and around. He just uses the OTE basically to define an area of entry on a displacement leg. And it's a deep pullback off of a displacement. Coming into the close of our first hourly candle here. So far, our lower fair value gap hasn't been completely filled in yet, but overall still being respected on the 30-minute time frame, this larger fair value gap right here. We'll probably find out here in the next 30 minutes whether we're going to be correct or incorrect. ICT's a fine trader. I have no issues with the concepts. I have issues with him. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not in disagreement with you. But that this is one of his concepts, the optimal trade entry here. So we still have this no wick candle up here. This one that started the 7 o'clock hour is a no wick candle, and we know that the market does not like to leave no wicks behind. I'm still anticipating, if this is going to head lower, it may want to come back up into some of these fair value gaps. It may find some issue up in here. Potentially, as we open the next hourly candle, you get a pop-up. If it wants to head lower, you may get a lower high put in up here, and then it would reverse down. It could just tank lower as well and take us out, but if you haven't yet, guys, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. It does. It's one small way that you can support the live stream here, is just clicking that like button. I don't get to see who clicks it, but it does help us all continue to. The algorithm uses that information, the engagement with this live stream, to push this out to other traders who don't know that we're here every day talking through the mindset, the psychology, and the trading aspects that go into becoming a funded trader. Coming into the last little few seconds of this hourly candle here. He is the mentor of your mentors or something. He, again, he's got a lot of great trading concepts that help it. His concept really helped me understand understand liquidity more than any other trading strategy has. Not that any of these other trading strategies are bad or worse or better. I'm more wired to try to understand why things do and work certain ways. And for me, liquidity is basically it's the concept in which I things really started to click for me. Why did it run stops there? Why did it reverse after it ran stops there? Where is it likely to run the next liquidity level? So it's all of those kinds of things that his concepts helped me understand. And then understanding, okay, well, how can I participate in those moves? That comes down to the different entry techniques: fair value gaps, order blocks, breaker blocks, OTEs, opening gaps, consequent encroachment. I mean, you could just go on and on. Market maker sell models. Those are all just models and entry techniques to participate on where the market is reaching for the next levels of liquidity. That's it. He was on a Twitter space the other day saying he wrote the algorithm that controls the price of all markets and he's able to get involved before banks get quoted the prices. No red flags there. He front runs the banks. Oh, God. What's the saying that every genius is a little bit insane? When you listen to a genius, you also accept some of the insanity that comes along with, or whatever the issue is. Geniuses, very, very highly intelligent genius level people are often have a little bit of craziness in and around them. Some weird things that the vast majority of us just highly intelligent people don't operate with. I have not listened to his religious themed Twitter spaces. I don't look to ICT to provide my I don't even want to call it religious, but just my beliefs for my faith, the Bible, Christianity, Jesus, etc. I have people in my life that I know are extremely godly and much wiser than me about what they think and believe. And I don't need a day trader who, in all of his wisdom with trading, does not necessarily equate to, because he knows how to trade, that he also knows how to, or to speak to those kinds of things. He has an audience. He can say whatever he wants to the people that want to go listen to him every time he opens his mouth. He has the freedom to do so. I just choose not to. Whether I would agree with him or not, I have no idea. Not really sure. But yeah, I have no idea what he's been saying. I saw him post something on Twitter the other day about 666 and the mark of the beast, and it trying to allude to something about the way Muslims write out the name Allah, and it's complete insanity to me. There's nothing, like, it just is a complete misunderstanding of scripture in my mind, the way that I read that, and it's just reaching for things that aren't there. So, I mean, again, it's his Twitter space. He's free to say whatever he wants, and he's got enough followers that there's plenty of people that will tune in and listen to him. That's unfortunate. In some cases, when it has nothing to do with trading, it's unfortunate, but not sure how helpful it is. I'm not sure how helpful it is for people when that is his focus. So a lot of times people think because they're experts in one area that they're now experts in all areas. And I'm not saying that that's what he's claiming. And I think he did give a disclaimer that basically is like, hey, this is going to be me talking about what I believe, so you don't have to listen. It has nothing to do with trading. So if people tuned in and they got pissed off, I mean, he warned you. He told you this has nothing to do with trading. This is just what his personal beliefs are. So we're all free to have our own personal beliefs about whatever it is. And if you tuned in and got offended by anything he said, I mean, he told you he wasn't going to be talking about trading. So instead of sell orders being below lows, there's actually buy orders. Correct. And that's why running reverses after running a low. Correct. That is exactly the way liquidation works, Ben. Yeah, Kanye, again, everybody looks to famous people to tell them what to believe, and that's not a great idea. Just because someone has a platform, just because someone has built an audience, does not give them the authority to speak with clarity and understanding on whatever topic it is that they're talking about. If it's outside of their area of expertise that helped them build that platform. So Kanye West is a musician. He's not a theologian. ICT is a trader. He's not a theologian. Tom Cruise is an actor, not a theologian. So it doesn't just go down the list, whoever it is, just because they've done something in their life that people have become fascinated with and they've built up an audience or a following, that does not mean we should just now listen to them and let their opinion matter on whatever else it is that's going on that has nothing to do with what they did originally. This is why endorsements from celebrities mean nothing to me. When they're endorsing a political candidate, I don't give a crap. If they are endorsing or pitching something that is obviously the government is trying to force upon us and they're all just getting in line, I'm like, I don't care that you have Tom Hanks on the television telling me I should do this or that or vote for this or that. I don't give a crap what Tom Hanks thinks. I don't give a crap what a famous person thinks or believes about any of my personal issues. It doesn't matter to me at all. One bit. Not one bit. He's the Stephen Hawking in the trading universe, theoretical trader. Yeah, 666 is not how we write Allah. No, Saim, I agree with you. It is. When I saw him post that, I'm just like, you are part of the problem, my friend. Like, you're not even thinking about this in a cohesive or intelligent way. It's just like, that's not helpful at all to help the conversation forward in any path. It's not helpful. I don't need someone well-versed in auction theory telling me about my personal experience with my Savior. I don't go to the butcher to get my truck worked on. Exactly. I mean, great analogy. Some people think it's 786, but there's no clear indication or mention of it in the Quran. It's all auction theory. Yeah, the idea of liquidations is that sell orders are below lows, so smart money moves to those orders to counterparty their buys and reverse price. Yeah, typically liquidation is all about the institutions, central banks, whatever, the big money movers will, if they want price to go higher, they need to match up their buy orders with all the sell orders that are below them. So often they will sell into those buy orders, and they'll have their own buy orders ready to go down in those lower prices as well. So again, it's just auction theory. It's liquidity theory, whatever you want to call it. And we're just trying to find entry models that help us participate in moves towards specific liquidity pools. And that concludes today's episode of Venator Rants. The C in ICT stands for cringe a little bit. I have quite an extensive background in Christian theology. I mean, my full-time job is working at a Christian church. I have formal education. I have years of formal education. I am very well versed I'm a very biblically literate person, I guess is one of the best ways to say that. I have taken seminary level courses. I have taught many classes and Bible studies. I am a very biblically literate person. And I understand I am not here to get into any of that. That's not the purpose or point of this stream. If you want to have discussions with me about what I believe or why I believe what I believe, I am happy to have that discussion with you on a Zoom call or in a private Discord message or in a private Twitter DM or whatever venue that you would like to discuss that off of the stream. I'm very happy to do that. But this is not the place for me to try to lay out for you biblical theology, systematic theology, end times theology, whatever it is that you want to get into. This is not the place for that. I'm not here to try to convince anyone that any specific event in the world or any specific people group in the world is going to bring about end times or whatever it is that he's spouting off about. He's a fear monger. And I just don't want to participate in that at all. I want to be here to help you guys become better traders. That's why I'm here. And what I personally believe about my faith, you want to ask me about it? I'm happy to discuss that with you, but we're not going to do it here on the stream. I have heard of Michael Todd, yes. No, I'm not saying that we can't talk about current events or we can't talk about I'm just not here to proselytize. I'm not here to try to convert anyone to what I personally believe about my faith. I'm not here to point fingers or start arguments. If you want to start an argument about trading, cool. Let's argue about it. You want to start an argument about liquidity levels and smart money concepts or support and resistance, happy to do it. But personal faith, it's personal. It's up to you. You need to be wholly on board 100% with what it is you believe and why you believe it. If there's some part, the only thing I would say about faith is that if there's some part of your faith that demands hatred towards another group of people, I would highly question the veracity of said faith. I believe that my role in life is to love God and to love people, because that's his reflection of his love for me. Is I was an enemy of God, and through his love, he did for me what I could never do for myself. I was literally opposed to God. I was living my life in a way that was completely offensive to his holiness. And I could do nothing about that. And it's only in his love for me that he provided a way that I could do something about that. So that's my personal belief, which now flows out towards every other area of my life. I should love him and I should love other people. The first and greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind. The second is like unto it, love your neighbor as yourself. All of the law is wrapped up in these two commandments. Love God, love people. So that's my focus. That's what I'm trying to do as best of my ability, is to love God and to love people. So if I'm doing that, that's the gist of what I believe in a nutshell. Everything else flows outside of that and from those two viewpoints. Love God, love people. No need to start an argument on Barbie. It'll quickly be finished. John trying to change the conversation. Lee Rodwell, afternoon gang. Late to the party today. Welcome in, Lee. Glad you're here. I agree. The basis of any mass religion is about being good to one another, not hatred. Absolutely, Cisco. Kirby, also godly creature. That's kind of debatable. Whether Kirby, I believe Kirby has a little bit of demon possession inside of him, possibly. If you spent any time with him, you would also agree. I don't know who pissed Kirby off. We have treated him like a king his entire life. He has had nothing but incredible, of an incredibly comfortable life. So, why he is so angry and pissed off all the time is beyond me. I don't get it. Maybe he needs an exorcism. I don't know. His attitude though is pretty it's pretty insane. Looks like this trade is going to be taking some time. It's definitely not wanting to show any aggressive move away from this fair value gap or this breaker. So, yeah. It's inside this 30-minute breaker, and now it's reached back up into this fair value gap. It's reached back up into this bearish fair value gap and showing some resistance off of that fair value gap there. Not ideal. Not what we want to see happen in a bullish trade. You want to see PD arrays being violated, not respected. So it's respecting both currently. I mean, it is what it is. It could go any way at this point. It still did not take out the no wick candle here. It didn't reach back up that far. This 4-hour order block is holding up currently. So this bearish candle, once it closed and displaced above these highs, once it closed and displaced above those highs here, it created a bullish order block off of this candle. Our low is below the low of that 4-hour bullish order block there. So it's reached down into the wick to the body. It's reached down into 50%, the consequent encroachment of this order block, also an OTE area. And now you're starting to see a little bit of a pullback here. This 4-hour candle has about 40 minutes left on it. So the next 4-hour candle opens, we're going to continue to want to see it respect this 4-hour order block right here. It put in a swing low. So you had a swing low here. We put in a high. A swing low will be created as this 4-hour candle is closing out. You will create a higher low. And so we're anticipating this 4-hour order block to continue to hold price up and push it up into this daily fair value gap. That is our goal here. Continue to ride the trend on this small pullback here on the pound dollar. We're trending up. We're just trying to find a way to get into that trend with this breaker. We'll see how it plays out. We still have some still have a little bit of, obviously, a lot of time left in the trading session. There's really no news this morning to push price volatilely in one direction or another. So it's just going to be typical normal market price action. So trading above the opening gap currently. We'll see how long it wants to play out there. We're in the trade. There's really not much else to talk about. We can get into whatever y'all want to talk about. If there's another chart you want to look at or thoughts about something that you want to get into, happy to discuss. I'll stay on probably another 20 minutes or so, maybe till the top of this next hour. If, the trade may get taken out in the next 30 minutes. But just sitting here watching a trade play out isn't super exciting. Oh, I'm probably going to go to break even up in and around that point. We'll just set an alert there so that if price gets up there and we're off the charts, it will let me know on my phone if I'm away from the computer. Oh. Need to check. Whoops. Might as well answer some text messages and emails while we're just chilling. I don't have much else to do. Go look and see what's happening. The Astros play today, for all those who are wondering. 3 o'clock this afternoon, Game 3 of the American League Division Series. Excuse me. Is that hockey? Come on, man. Come on, man. Hockey. Baseball, my friend. American pastime. The great American pastime, baseball. Alpha Bridge locked in hard on Assassin's Creed. I've heard it's pretty good. I'm still playing Starfield, which I absolutely love. There's just so much to the game to do. Beyond the main quests, you have all kinds of faction side stories. You have just random side missions that pop up. And then on top of that, you have this massive map, like solar system galaxies to explore, with all the different systems inside of it, planets, outposts, resource gathering. I mean, it's just so huge. It is truly Fallout in space, basically, on just a massive map level. Astros are not exactly well liked by most American. The Astros are definitely the team to hate. They're the favorite team to hate, and we're fine with that. We're fine with that. We cry ourselves to sleep on our championship trophies. The rugby at the weekend. I didn't watch any of the rugby matches. Beeswax, some of the ships people have recreated in Starfield, crazy the Star Destroyer. I've seen some pretty crazy ship builds. It's fascinating to me. I do love the ship building. It's pretty cool. I'm into the outpost building. I've always been like, it fits the strategy vibe of just setting up a settlement out in the middle of nowhere on some strange distant planet and figuring out how to survive. That's awesome. But the ship building is also very cool, and I really enjoy that as well. Nice. I use a MacBook to do all the streaming. I use Xbox for my gaming, and I have just a small laptop PC that is nothing special. Very basic laptop just to have MT5 on. The MacBook is MacBook Pro. I don't even know the MacBook that I'm on. Let me see. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. The Apple M1 Max chip. That's about all I know. Liquid Retina display. A terabyte of hard drive. Yeah. Don't know what else to say about that there. They're the cheaters of MLB. Well, if we want to have that discussion, I'm more than happy to have it with you. If you're not cheating in baseball, you're not trying. Cheating is part of baseball. Everyone is trying to cheat and exploit the weaknesses of the other team. And literally every other team in baseball was cheating, which is why the memorandum was sent out across the entire league to tell people, look, cheating is okay, but you can't cheat this way. This one specific way, we're saying you can no longer cheat that way. They were very well aware that it was happening. They were very well aware that it was happening, that all the teams were doing it to some extent. And the Astros were the scapegoat. They didn't want to punish the Yankees. They didn't want to punish the Red Sox. They didn't want to punish the Dodgers. They didn't want to punish the Giants. They wanted to punish a mid-market team to make an example of them. They didn't want to punish their darlings of baseball. And so they made an example of the Houston Astros. In all fairness, the Astros continued, along with multiple teams, the Astros did continue to utilize the technology to try to steal signs the same way other teams were doing. They just made an example of the Astros. So did they cheat? Yes. No one disputes that. I think the biggest issue that we have here in Houston is that we were made out to be the only people doing it, and we were the only team punished for doing it. While it was very common knowledge, every other team in baseball was also doing this. So it just seemed a little, and that's why we're fine with being hated, because we understand the public image of we were the people that they wanted to say, okay, we've got to make an example of this out of somebody. We're going to make an example out of these guys. No one cares about Houston. We're not going to punish the billion-dollar teams out there because that would tarnish the game too much. So we have to provide some justice. We have to provide some visible justice to satiate the desire of people's crying foul. So we'll just torch the Astros here. And in response, all the Astros have done is win. We've lived into our role of villain very well, and we've just crushed everybody since then, and continue to crush them. This year's not been a great year. We have not lived up to the talent on paper has not come to fruition like it has in years past. Although, I mean, we're still extremely competitive. We're still a favorite to win the World Series. We're in the, probably top 3 teams to win the World Series this year. The favorites, that the Braves are down a game. The Dodgers are down 2 games. The Rangers are up 2-0 against Baltimore. So, I mean, anything can happen. It's baseball, but we're happy to be the team that everybody hates, and we understand why they hate us, and we also understand that this was all just a PR stunt to protect the overall image of baseball's princess teams out there. So it is what it is, and we're okay with it. The Royals did not get punished. Yeah, because no one gives a crap about the Royals. They don't ever do anything. They're already at the bottom. And if they cheated, everyone would be like, well, you should have been cheating a long time ago because you suck and you're not very good at cheating, just as like you're not very good at baseball. Get better cheaters. That's what people think about the Royals. They had to punish somebody that was having some form of success, or else it wouldn't have mattered. We can get into all kinds of arguments about sports. I'm fine with arguing sports. That hurts my feelings. Poor little Johnny's feelings are hurt. Talking smack about sports is probably some of the funnest smack to talk. I can take it and I can dish it. I know Houston is a horrible sports town. We've been fortunate that the Astros have been as good as they are. We've been spoiled, quite honestly, by their success because typically Houston is a trash sports team. The Texans, trash. The Rockets, they were good for they've had spurts back in the glory days. The Houston Rockets, the NBA team, Hakeem Olajuwon led them to 2 championships in the mid-90s. And we've never really had any good success since then. James Harden era was the best next chance we've had, and then that completely blew up. So we just always expect our teams to lose it tragically in the end. No matter how close they get, we always expect them to find a way to lose. That's kind of how Houston sports fans operate, is we want to win, but we always just know that somehow, some way, our teams are going to blow it. They choke in the end, typically. But when we're doing good, we're going to talk smack. Absolutely, we're going to talk smack when we're doing good. So, all right, 20 more minutes for this 4-hour candle to close here. And again, it would be nice to see it respect that 4-hour order block there. We're just using this 30-minute breaker as a way to try to get in line with the higher time frame flows. So if price is wanting to move up on the higher time frames, we're using this 30-minute breaker to continue to ride the trend higher. Don't know that it's going to work out. Currently trading inside last hour's candle. We didn't take out last hour's low or last hour's high. So it's really lining up to be more of just a consolidation than it is anything else. So man, I got the coughs going on. All in all, MJ still the king. MJ is definitely the greatest of all time. I grew up in Illinois. I think I told you I was born in the Midwest in Illinois. I spent a lot of my summers in Chicago at my grandma's house. And the Bulls, I grew up in I grew up rooting for and cheering on. They were my team. The Bulls, the Bears, the Cubs, the Chicago teams were all of the teams that those were my childhood teams that I rooted for. The Cubs obviously were trash. I rooted for them anyway. The Bears with Jim McMahon, Walter Payton, William Refrigerator Perry, Mike Singletary. The Bears, when they won the Super Bowl in '85, I couldn't believe it. They were the best. But the Bulls at that time and Michael Jordan it was incredible. Their run in the '90s, the 6 championships, in the 90s. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. The run that they had. He is truly the greatest of all time. No doubt about it. And, different eras of basketball, I get that. Most talented basketball player of all time. Without a doubt. Horrible. He's a great athlete, and it's a shame that he walked away to go try to play baseball. I mean, he played in the minor leagues. He was a decent baseball player. Again, that's a perfect example of someone saying, because I've achieved mastery at this level, I'm now qualified to be a master at every other thing that I do. That's not how life works. MJ, greatest basketball player of all time. Average golfer, average baseball player. So I don't, it's unfortunate that he couldn't just stick it out. He probably could have had 7 or 8 championship rings instead of 6. Ego and pride, they're the downfalls of most things. And that is definitely one in which he gave into his ego and pride. And it probably cost him a championship or 2, trying to chase down and become something that he was never meant to be. Rockets are my favorite NBA team. That's cool. LeBron James is better. LeBron James is great. It's just, again, I'm happy to have the argument with you, but statistically, MJ, the best. Had LeBron James done what, let's say LeBron James was like, okay, I've won all my championships. I've done what I needed to do. You know what I want to do? I want to go get a Super Bowl ring. I'm going to be a linebacker. I'm going to be a tight end in the NFL. I think I can go do that. That's the comparable statement. LeBron, to his credit, has stuck to his sport and did not try to switch like MJ did, but MJ's the best. Steph Curry even better? No. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time, without a doubt. Not a better pure shooter than Steph Curry. I would definitely support that argument. But he's not the best basketball player of all time. I hear the pups starting to come down. So maybe we'll get some Kirby time here. It's just right when my trade is reaching back up above break even and trying to take out that hourly high, Kirby decides to show up. Fingers crossed he doesn't bring his bad juju into this moment. Hey guys. There she is. Love of my life. I don't think so. I haven't been outside. I don't know. How's the weather out there? Is it nice? My son wrote that using my phone. I agree with you about Jordan. Yeah, okay. Stay safe, guys. Enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. See you, Alpha Bridge. Have a good one, man. No. I don't know if it's allergies or what, but I've got, every time I try to take kind of a deeper breath, I just get this like tickle in the back of my throat. Let's see, what is it? It's about, we've been on for about an hour and 50 minutes. Trade is doing what it's doing. I think I'm probably going to call the stream here for now. We've done what we needed to do, identified our setup, executed the trade, and now we're just going to set alerts and let it go. So appreciate you guys being in here again today and participating with me on the chat. Jump into Discord and follow me on Twitter. We'll post updates as we go. But enjoy the rest of your day. You guys stay safe out there. We'll be back again tomorrow at 7 a.m. and we'll watch some of the news events unfold on the economic calendar, and we'll go from there. So happy hunting, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Adios, y'all.